Anyone else? I only have 2 people here. Oh my goodness. All right, so without wasting time, there are different types of loans depending on your credit, all right? The most popular loan program that a lot of people know is the FHA loan program, which is a government loan. And for you to buy that home with a minimum down payment, the credit score required is 580. 580 is the minimum credit score required to buy a home using the FHA financing program. Now, if you know that you have extra down payment, maybe a 10% down payment or more, you can actually buy a home using FHA financing with a 550 credit score. Okay. So I don't want you to just have it at the back of your mind that you always have to have 580 to get a loan. You can get a loan even with a 550 credit score, as long as you have 10% down payment. And that is for FHA loan. Now, on FHA loan programs, we have 3.5%. And as a matter of fact, we also have a loan program that allows you to have $100 down as a down payment. That is also another FHA loan program. It allows you 100. I bet most of you don't know that. All you need as a down payment is $100. Now, keep in mind that you still have to pay your closing costs, okay? You see, and closing costs, what does your closing cost entails? Your closing costs include your appraiser, your insurance, your taxes, your lender fees. All of those fees are called your closing costs. And most of the time, we advise clients to prepare for about 3%, okay, 3 to 4% of your sales price. Even though most of the time your realtors like Ola here can help you negotiate with your sellers to pay closing costs. But what I always like to tell my buyers is this: you may find a home that you are absolutely in love with, okay? And the seller refuses to pay closing costs. But if you have your closing costs already saved up, you don't have to worry about the seller paying your closing costs. Now, keep in mind that the sellers also, they have to pay their own closing costs. So if they're willing to pay your own closing costs for you, that's even better. But make sure you have something saved up. And if you find a home where the seller is willing to pay your closing costs, then what happens? You have extra money to spend. Once you move into the home, you can buy your furniture, you can do whatever. Now, I know Mosun touched on that a little bit earlier. Please, please, and please, whenever you have that in mind that you want to buy a home, you stop all purchases. We don't want you to engage in making large purchases once you start the home buying process, because that could stop you from buying. All right. So we have the FHA loan programs, which allows you 3%, 3.5% down payment if you have 580 or better, or 10% down if it's 550 or better. Now, we also have the USDA loan program. That loan program is good for those that are buying in the rural areas, okay? So if you know that you don't mind, you don't have to live in the city, you can live in the rural area, then you are qualified for USDA, and that is 0 down payment. You do not need a down payment for that. Now, you're going to need closing costs, but if you're able to find something that you like in the rural areas, then it's 0 down payment. We also have a loan program and for that, you also need a 580 credit score. Now, if you're a veteran and you've served this country, you are also eligible for a loan with 0 down payment. This is, I believe this is actually the best loan product, in the country, because what a better way to honor those that have served in the country, that have served us. So there's the 0 down payment. And for this, actually, VA does not have a minimum credit score. However, the lenders, oh my goodness.
Someone just hacked it. Can we just take that off, please? Oh my goodness.
Oh
no. Oh, can we stop?
Stop it. Stop it. How can we stop this? So are we still using this? Are we still using this one? Okay. Okay. You just have to make sure next time you prepare for such it's okay. Just take a deep breath. It's perfectly okay. It's part of a learning process, it's just part of the learning process. Now you know better. Next time you know how to safeguard stuff like this, so that it doesn't happen again. And also you know that you have someone else that is maybe a co-host that's actually watching what is going on. So when something like that happens, they can, number one, identify where it came from and quickly shut them down instead of shutting everybody down. So those are the things that even
Yeah.
me, I didn't even know somebody could do that. So that was,
Okay.
yeah, so that was a learning process for me as well. So we just continue. Let's not allow that to dampen our spirit. Let's just keep going. So all right. So back to what we were talking about. So we're talking about the VA loan. So VA program is actually the best loan program in the country because number one, the down payment is zero. They do not need to put any money down. And not only that, the closing costs are actually controlled. Their closing costs. There are some fees that you cannot charge the veterans. Example, loan origination, you cannot charge the veterans. And there is no
Sorry,
mortgage.
sorry, Ma. Just a second. I want to confirm that we're recording.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
so sorry.
Yeah, it's recording.
Okay, it's recording. Okay. Okay.
So then there's no mortgage insurance. Of course, we know like if you are buying let's say $200,000 or $300,000 home, your mortgage insurance is about $200 a month. So when you have a VA loan, there is no mortgage insurance, which allows them to actually buy more. So it gives them the opportunity to qualify for more if using their VA benefits. And not only that, on the FHA loan, there's a restriction on the debt to income ratio. FHA would not allow you to get qualified if your debt to income ratio is more than 56%. But on VA loans, sometimes we've actually gotten someone approved with a 60% debt to income ratio. So that's how powerful the VA loan is. So if you are able to qualify for a VA loan, I highly encourage you to take that opportunity and get that loan. And another loan program, okay, we talked about the USDA loan, conventional loan program. So the conventional loan program is a regular bank loan program, and compared to FHA, conventional loan is a bit stricter than FHA. FHA is pretty flexible with credit. I know that beginning, I think it started already, so they're going to remove the minimum credit score requirement on conventional loan program. So, but right now it's at 620. But what I tell people, if they want to get a conventional loan, even though you can get a conventional loan at 620, it's always good to work with a credit specialist to help you improve your score to at least 640 or better. Because the reason is because of the mortgage insurance. When your credit score is low, your mortgage insurance is going to be high. What is mortgage insurance? The mortgage insurance is insurance that is placed on your loan whenever you are not putting 20% down, okay? And the reason is the lender wants to be protected. I mean, everybody wants to be protected. So they want to be protected in case you don't make a payment. If you don't make a payment, they are going to foreclose on the house. Unfortunately, you, the consumer, is the one responsible for paying that mortgage insurance. All right. So if your score is low, your mortgage insurance is going to be high. So instead of paying maybe $300 a month, it could be double that amount, which is going to increase your monthly payment and reduce how much you can qualify for based on your income. So if you know that you are looking at a conventional loan, like Mosun said earlier, get in touch earlier and work on your credit so that your credit score is going to get better. Once your score gets better, then you know that you're in a better position to get that, to get a lower mortgage insurance, unless you have your down payment, your 20% down payment. All right. And so why do people need to buy a house? For me personally, buying a home is more than just because you need a place to live. Buying a home to me is like you are building legacy for your family. It's like you are buying something that is going to outlive you. Whatever home you are buying right now, I mean, nobody's going to live here forever. You want something that you can hand over to your children. So when you buy a home and you do it correctly, you do it with someone that is knowledgeable about it, not that you want to buy your first home and you are buying a home that's 1.5. Please don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong in buying a $1.5 million home. But if you are looking at real estate as part of legacy building, you want to get with real estate professionals that know exactly what they're talking about. You want to get with real estate professionals that will understand your goals so that they can guide you towards that path. I know Ala and I were talking yesterday about a family that are trying to buy a home. And the first question she typically asks is, what is your goal? What are you planning to achieve? What do you want to achieve with buying this home? That way, she can help you tailor your plans towards that goal. All right. That's what we do. And there are so many real estate professionals in the market, but it's always important to work with those that actually have your best interests at heart. All right. Now, let's talk about our debt to income ratio. It's called the DTI. This is when they compare your income to your monthly payment. Now, what I typically tell people is when you are trying to buy a home, have at the back of your mind that your monthly payment is going to be about 1% of that home that you're trying to buy. So let's say you're looking to buy a $400,000 home. Don't think that buying a $400,000 home, especially with a minimum payment, a minimum down payment, that your monthly payment is going to be $2,000. It's not going to happen. All right. So when you are buying a $400,000 home, keep in mind that your mortgage payment is going to be over $3,000. All right. And so that will help you to cut down your taste. I know we all love those big kitchen, high ceiling, the third or the fourth room, office, a game room, and all of that. All those things are good, but can you afford it? We don't want you to buy a home that you cannot afford. We don't want you to buy a home that you would only be able to pay 6 months and then you are not able to make your payment, or a home that you will buy and you can't even sleep in that home. Because you're working a lot of overtime hours so you can make your mortgage payment. That is not building legacy, right? So just keep in mind that you need to cut down your taste if you know that you cannot afford a $3,000 mortgage payment. Also, you want to look at your income. How much money am I making? Okay, whatever your gross income is, take 43% of that. That's what you need to be targeting as your monthly payment. All right, even though some loan programs will allow you to go a little bit higher than that, but at least let's just be on the safe side, because once you start looking, you find the home that you want, a lot goes into your payment, and we're going to cover that in a little bit. Your payment consists of so many other factors. So we always want to leave a little bit of room just in case maybe the taxes is a little bit higher or the insurance is a little bit higher. We still want to leave a little bit of room. So that's why I typically use that 43% benchmark. So make sure that your house payment does not exceed 43% of your gross income. Okay. So once you have that at the back of your mind, then you let your realtor know that, hey, I don't want to pass this kind of monthly payment. That way they will know, how to assist you. And then you want to work closely with your loan professionals as well. They will be able to tell you if you qualify for that or if you don't qualify for that. Now, once you are pre-approved for a certain amount, please don't go over that amount. If you want to go over that amount, just make sure you are constantly communicating with your loan professionals. During that 45-day period when you guys are looking at houses or when you guys are planning to buy, your loan professional is your best friend at that time. Whatever changes that you want to make, whatever you want to do, make sure you're communicating with them so that they can guide you. Okay. Also, the lender wants to make sure that you have funds to close. We want to make sure that your down payment is seasoned in your bank account. When I say seasoned, it means that money needs to be in your bank account for at least 60 days. All right. If it's not in your bank account for 60 days, then you would have to show where that money came from. If you cannot provide evidence of where the money came from, they will not allow you to use that money. So make sure you're able to document everywhere, wherever your money is coming from. Now, I know that most of us, I'm from Nigeria, and most of the people from Nigeria, there's this monthly contribution that we do where you gather like 10, 15 people together to put in the exact amount. So let's say it's $500. I do it, let's say it's $500. So each person will bring $500 every month, and then you give it to, one person until it goes round. Such transaction cannot be deposited into your bank account when you're looking at buying a home. So if that is what you want to use to buy a home, that money will need to stay in your account for at least 60 days before you can use it. Otherwise, there are some other ways around it, but you just have to make sure you're working with a trusted professional so they can guide you. All right. So whatever money you cannot document where it's coming from, do not put in your bank account. So the lender want to make sure you have your down payment and your closing costs. Now, let's say you don't have enough closing costs, but you have a rich uncle or a rich auntie that can help you with closing costs. Fine, you can always use gift funds. Now, the most important part of it is that family member that is willing to give you that money must be willing to share their bank statement. If they are not able to share their bank statement, we cannot use that money. All right. Then we prepare a gift letter, and send to both of you to sign. All right. Now, what goes into your monthly payment? The principal and interest, which is what pays back the loan that you are borrowing. Your property taxes. So property taxes differ from neighborhood to neighborhood. There are some neighborhood where the tax rate is about 2.1. Some neighborhood tax rate is about 3.5. I've actually seen 3.7. Those things will actually affect your monthly payment. So when you're looking at houses, one of the things that you also want to pay attention to is the tax rate. The higher the tax rate, the higher your monthly payment. Then your insurance. These days, the cost of insurance has gone up. So you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of every discount that you can get. Most times, if you're able to bundle your homeowner's insurance and your auto insurance together, then you'll be able to get a discount. So just make sure that you shop around and get the best deal. Now, sometimes the cheapest doesn't mean the best, all right? The cheapest doesn't mean the best. I know a lot of people will say, oh, I want the cheap insurance. Cheap is not the best. So make sure you get a reasonably priced insurance. Get about 4 to 5 quotes and then compare. Make sure you are comparing apples with apples, not apple with orange, because some insurance coverages would give you 2% dwelling, while some will charge 5% dwelling, while some is 1% dwelling. If you don't know the difference, you will think the person that is giving you 5% dwelling is actually saving you money, but no, they are not, because you're going to pay that in the future. So just make sure you understand that. Then there's mortgage insurance. Mortgage insurance is factored into your payment if you don't have 20% to put down. And also HOA. Now, the HOA is not part of your monthly payment. It's just something that is actually factored in as a payment, because either you like it or not, you're going to have to pay it. All right. So that's for that. We've talked about credit. Mosun did a great job talking about credit. Your payment history, the lender wants to see your payment history. If you have multiple 30-day late, they are not going to give you a loan. I know I wrote down earlier, disputes. If you have a dispute on your credit, you will not be able to close. So when you know that you are 90 days away from buying a home, do not dispute your credit, all right? Just make sure everything that shows dispute on your credit is removed. The verbiage is removed from your credit report before you actually go on that contract. If not, it's going to cost you a lot of money to remove that verbiage once you are on that contract. Collections, make sure you are talking to your collection agencies. If they call you, pick up the phone. That's something that I always advise people, especially if you owe the money, So I'm not going to go into credit because she has done that already. Now, we did talk about how much money you need as a down payment earlier. So if it's a VA or USDA loan, it's 0 down. If it's a conventional loan, it's 3% down. And if it's FHA, it's 3.5. And we also have a $100 down payment program on some FHA loans. We also talked about your closing costs. The sellers could help you with 3% closing costs, depending on the loan type. On VA, they will allow up to 4% closing costs if you are doing the VA program, and FHA would allow 6% closing costs. Okay. So what else? And of course, there are so many loan programs for people out there. So if you're looking at buying a home, do not allow your friends, your neighbor, your frenemies to discourage you from buying. The best thing you can do for yourself is speak to a professional so that they can guide you. Most times, especially those of us that have a lot of friends, some friends don't want you to be a homeowner because they think you're competing with them. So the best thing to do is speak to a professional who is knowledgeable so they can advise you and guide you towards homeownership. All right. And it doesn't matter if you're self-employed, there's a loan program for you. If you don't have any income at all, but you have down payment, there's a loan program for you. If you don't have good credit, there's a loan program for you. There's always a loan program for you. The difference is there may be more down payment required, but no matter where you are right now, get with a professional to guide you and you can work towards that goal. I have people that would plan a year ahead. They know that they want to buy a house in 2026. They've already started planning right now. They've started saving right now. They've started working on their credit right now. I have someone that every month she checks in with me. We know, okay, where are you right now? How much money have you saved? How much credit have you paid down? Then you know that such person is ready to buy a home. All right. Now, what are the mistakes that people make when trying to buy a home? Number one, they put in a large amount of cash into their account. You cannot do that. You cannot dump cash into your account. Any cash money must be documented. If you cannot document, the lender wouldn't allow you to use it. Another mistake that I see is people switching from W-2 to 1099. That is a no-no. Okay, you can switch from 1099 to W-2, but not from W-2 to 1099. Or you become self-employed, or you quit your job after you've been pre-approved. You feel like this boss, I'm going to fire him or her. No, we cannot do that. All right. Then applying for new credit. This one is big. I mean, I've seen some clients, even though you tell them, please do not apply for any credit, they will still go ahead and do that. So those are the things that people do that could actually cost you, the buying power. Get pre-approved early, not pre-qualification. There's a difference between qualification, pre-qualification, and pre-approval. Pre-qualification is somebody just talking to you over the phone. You tell them this is your income, this is how much money you owe, without any verification. Pre-approval is when we collect documents from you, we verify all the information you've given unto us, we run your loan through the underwriting system, we know that, okay, yes, we have the approval, then we'll give you that pre-approval letter. Once we give you the pre-approval letter, then you know that at least you are 80% sure that you're going to close on your house, all right? And please don't schedule a mover or whatever until we close and your loan is funded. It's very, very important, all right? And so I guess I'll stop right there so that we can give Ola time to talk.
Oh, thank you so much, Miss Nika. Thank you. That was loaded. I bet, everybody's gained one thing or the other in what you said. Covered credit, you actually covered some of what I was going to talk about too, because that's how you do it, Experience is speaking. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. So we've all learned something about credit. We've learned about the mortgage process. And again, we have a couple questions. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. We will take care of them at the end of the segment. Now, let's talk about the home buying journey from search to closing. What does it entail? And what are some of the common mistakes that buyers make that we can avoid? So that way we know what can save us time, money, and stress. All right, so let's get into it real quick. I've broken it down into 6 steps. And step 1 of it is what I call the initial consultation and pre-qualification. I'll actually change that to, based on what Ms. Nika just said, I'll change it to initial consultation and pre-approval, because that's what we actually need to start the journey. So what's initial consultation? I know a lot of realtors will tell you, go get pre-approved before you come talk to me, because I can't do anything for you if you don't have a pre-approval in hand. We can start looking for homes. But I do it differently. I say, the moment you decide I want to buy a home, let's have an initial consultation. This is the time we discuss your goals. She also mentioned that at the start. Why are you buying a home? Is it a starter home? Are you looking to upsize? Are you trying to get into investment, but you want to use some strategies to do it? What exactly is your goal for buying that home? Trust me, that will help us to form the right strategy for you. And then what's your budget? So we're not sure, but you're looking at, based on my income right now, I can't go beyond this amount in terms of my mortgage. Now, the lender, at the time we talk to the lender, they would be able to guide better to say, based on your DTI, debt to income, this is what you should be looking at. But at least have some idea of it. And then what's your timeline? Especially if you're renting and you're looking to buy. when is your lease up? There's no point paying rent when you can start paying your mortgage and actually building equity in your home. So do we have enough time? And that's also, guys, can we build from ground up? Are there some benefits to that? Or are you looking to get a move-in ready home based on the time you have left? And then what are your expectations in the journey? We talk about the incentives out there, how to, position yourself to get the best out of it. So this is the initial consultation. Once we have that down, we have a plan in place. Now, remember, it's not cast in cement or anything. It's a fluid plan. We keep working it as we get more information. Then the next step is to go talk to Ms. Nika, go talk to Mosun, talk about your credit, talk about your what you qualify for, and get a pre-approval. Another thing that I say is, a lot of people, once you start thinking of buying a home, then we start going to all the model homes. Trust me, we all have the Ferrari taste. But if your budget is only going to cover Toyota, let's not build. That's what leads to emotional spending. That's what leads to you falling in love with a home that you really cannot afford. I would say, and this is a personal opinion, at that point, stop. Don't even look at homes until you know what we're working with. So let's get a pre-approval. Let's avoid, and again, follow whatever has been advised. Don't do any new line of credit. Don't quit your job. Don't do any of those things that can impact your pre-approval or your final approval at the end. And then once we get that, we sit down again and we talk about your must-haves versus nice to have. So what are your must-haves? Now we have a budget. We have your pre-approval. We know, okay, this is about the amount you can get as a loan. We know how much you've saved up that you can pay as down payments and closing. We know exactly, or maybe not exactly, at least we have a good idea of what your monthly payment is going to look like. And then we sit down and say, what are your must-haves? Must-haves are like your essential features that actually impact your daily living, your comfort, and financial practicality. So these are things like location. So you work downtown, are you looking for a place where you don't have to commute for too long, or there's a particular place you drive to frequently and you would rather not, have that long commute? We start to look at those things. If you have kids or family, schools are important. Where are the good schools? What zone am I looking at? We're looking at safety, and this is the time. Well, now as a realtor, I cannot tell you this is a safe area. I can't give you crime rates information, but we can, share resources of where you can go to look at that. So that's important to you. And then what's the size of the home, bedroom count? The essential things, the things that would impact how you feel about that home when you move into it. This is the time we now have that list. And then we look at your nice to haves, because the must haves are the first thing we'll tackle. And then when we get to the point where we're searching a home, we're looking at options, we're trying to shortlist or eliminate some options. Then we look at your nice to have. Like she said, nice backsplash in the kitchen, a flex room, media room. These are the things that just enhance your comfort, your convenience in that home. They are not deal breakers. So we don't want to start looking at those things first. You want to start looking at your must-haves first. This is the time we do that. Once we have that, then the home search really begins. So we have our budget. So we're not going to go look at homes that are $50,000, $100,000 priced above that budget, where we know it's unlikely that we can negotiate down to that level. So we keep it streamlined, keep it focused. That way we eliminate stress, we eliminate any form of emotional, turmoil, like, oh my God, I love that home. You can afford it. So we want to get into a home that you can afford. Trust me, if you're not blinded by those things, you will find a home that you love, that works for that time in your life. Your first home may not be your dream home. That's what I tell people. The first thing you want to do is get out of that old renting and, paying someone else's mortgage. You want to start building your own equity. So settle for what you can afford at that time. But your first home can lead you to your dream home. Because as you start to build, you're building your equity, you're building in terms of your career and your income earnings. By the time you're ready, you're able to pull money out of that first home and put it into actually getting your dream home. So you don't have to wait. You don't have to look for the perfect time. That's what I tell people. Again, it's your decision, but these are some of the things we start to think about. Now that the second step is your home search process. The third step, now we've found the home. We've shortlisted, we've brought it down to 2 or 3. We've looked at our must-haves. And then we say, oh, this is the one. We've stuck to our budget, we've stuck to our must-haves, we've followed our plan. So we're all convinced, happy, and ready to make an offer. This is when you go in. So it depends on the kind of home it is. If it's a resale home, being a home that someone has lived in, loved already, and then they've put back on the market, it's a slightly different kind of contract to when you're buying a new build home, you're going directly to the builder and you're buying in a new emerging community. So this is the time we talk about that contract, the negotiations, the strategies, the incentives, what are we looking to get? And then we make that offer. The common mistake to avoid this step is rushing to make an offer. We all have this, or some people go through the FOMO, fear of missing out, especially at a time like this when there's so many incentives, so many advertisements, so many, really nice sounding perks that are being advertised. It's still not a time to rush. You want to make sure that you're convinced this is it. This is the one I want. This is the one I'm comfortable with. This is the one that will not put a strain on my finances. Because if you have strain, even if you love that home at the start, as soon as it becomes a burden on you, you're not going to love that home again. So we want to make sure we're convinced, fully convinced. We don't have to rush. If it's not it, it's not it. We wait until we find that one. And then, make strategic decisions. I remember post-COVID when the home or housing market kind of exploded. People were paying above the asking prices. And I know some people now that are stuck with overpriced homes and they don't know what to do with them. But they followed that, the whole, rush that was happening at the time. That's why I'll always say, never rush into making an offer, because once you commit to it, you go past your option time, you're stuck. If your finances come through, inspection comes through, you either forfeit your earnest money, we'll get to that when we actually go into details of what it takes, or you're stuck with a home that you really cannot afford or you don't really like. So step 4 now we're under contract. The seller has accepted our offer. This is the time we now go through due diligence. So as Ms. Nick most of the lender going through underwriting, they're asking for documents, they're doing all of that stuff. There are some things you also do on your part as the buyer. We're talking about inspections. Never, ever skip inspection. You can strategize at the point where you do your inspections, but never. If it's a resale home, we want to make sure that the house is inspected. You look at everything, because once you close on that home and it's yours, if you start to have issues, it's all on you. There are issues that inspection would have shown, hidden issues that you cannot tell just looking at the home. If it's in the foundation, the roof, the HVAC, the plumbing, some of these things you can't see with the naked eye, but people that have been trained to look for it, inspectors, can tell you. And what can we do with that? You either ask the seller, I'm not going to pay this if you don't repair it, or I'm happy to repair it, but you need to give me credit for it. So we go back to the negotiating table. We can either drop the asking price or get the seller to fix it before you get into the home. Now, for new build, the strategy may be different. I've seen where people do this, where, of course, we have all kinds of warranties on that new home. You may have 1-year warranty that covers most of everything in terms of, the items in the home. Then you have the 5-year warranty, the 7 and the 10 that cover the, major things like the roof, the foundation, and all of that stuff. I know some people would wait. They will not do that inspection before closing because they have that 1-year warranty. And so they wait, and as you get closer to the 1-year mark, you get a general inspector to come in and check through everything. So whatever did not show, may not have shown at the time of closing, that has not shown from living in the home, you can get the builder to then fix those things for you. So that it depends on how we feel about it. For some of us, we're very cautious. I like, no, before I even close on this home, I want to make sure my inspection is done. So there are different ways to go about it. Also, at this time is when you secure your homeowner's insurance. I remember Ms. Nika also mentioned that as part of the cost to consider. So your lender is not going to close on your loan until you provide that. So that's the time to start shopping around for the homeowner's insurance. And then once all that is done, we go through loan finalization. Again, Ms. Nika said so much about that one. We get all the documents ready. One thing I also say is, after pre-approval, even while you're searching and shopping for a home, it's a good time to keep in touch with the lender and keep asking, what are some of the documents I will need down the line? start getting them together, because the quicker you're able to provide those documents, the quicker we can get to the closing table. So if there are things that you need to request from either your HOA, your employer, the government, you give yourself enough time to put all of those documents together so we can submit all the necessary information, go through all the conditions or questions that the lender may have, get all of that out of the way, secure your homeowner's insurance, and we get cleared to close. They always say, I'm sure if you've seen, some people, some realtors post on Instagram or on social media where they say CTC, we are CTC, that means cleared to close. That means the lender has said, yes, you've satisfied all my requirements, I'm good, you have this money, we're ready to fund. It's worth celebrating. It's a major milestone in the business. Now we know we're ready, right? And then the final step is final walkthrough and closing. Personally, this is the one that really excites me the most. We're there, we can almost touch it. So 24 to 48 hours before you close, you do your final walkthrough. This is when you go with the blue tape. If it's a new home, you start to look at everything, make sure all the conditions are met, the house is in the proper condition. Everything that needs to have been fixed, whatever you request. I'll also share a story. So one of my clients was buying a new build, and when we got to final walkthrough, the inspector, even though it's gone through QA from the builder and all of that stuff, but when they brought I'm not sure what the man's designation was, but he's the one that was walking us through on that final one. And he was looking at the spec for the home. And we realized that the fireplace that was made, Ms. Nike was with me on that transaction. We found out that the fireplace did not fit what was spec'd for that home. And so we went back to the builder and said, you promised a ceiling high fireplace, that's what was spec'd, but what we have is the halfway through with the mantle, it's not the same. Long story short, we got another 3,000 credit on that because there was no time, we had to close, there was no time for the builder to go in and fix that. And the truth of the matter is, the owner of the buyer was actually planning to tear down that fireplace because he didn't like it anyway. And he was going to build another one. So that was extra money for him. That's what we do when we go to final walkthrough. Make sure everything that was promised has been delivered. And then in that time period, this is about 1-2 days, the title officer is putting together your closing package. They're preparing it so that we can go to the closing table. When we get there, the buyer signs tons of documents, tons and tons of documents. They'll do a good job of explaining to you what each one is. I know that's a frustrating note. The part where people get impatient, like, why am I signing all this? Just give me my key already. But yeah, it's a lot of money. It's a huge transaction. And the paperwork reflects it, trust me. You sign all of that. The lender funds the loan, they release it to the buyer. Woohoo! We get the keys in hand and everybody's happy. That's the time we take pictures with the keys in and, we dance and you go home. But that's the final step in the home buying. But personally, that's not the final step in our journey as your realtor. Even when you move in, I'm checking in, you have questions about the HOA, you have any questions regarding the builder and things, going on. It's a lifelong journey, trust me. I'm here, if I'm your realtor, I'm with you forever. From the first one to the next one to the next one, make sure you keep that that relationship going. One thing I pride myself on doing is nurturing that relationship, even beyond, home buying. And so that's about the home buying journey. I try to keep it short and simple today. If you have any questions, again, please put it in the chat. I know a few questions came in. And we're about to get into the Q&A segment. And I have some questions for you. I think the first question I have is for Moso. Yeah. Again, thank you all for joining and coming back. I apologize for the glitch, but we do have one question. For Moso, please. The question says, does medical collection and student loan affect your credit? I know you touched on it, but clearly we need a bit more clarity on that.
Yes, so I mentioned that medical credit that is less than like 500 or less does not eat your credit report. But if it's more than that, it can really eat your credit report. And the student loan, it's not like it will affect your credit score if you keep paying your monthly loan. So the moment that you miss a payment, then it will affect it.
All right.
Let me just add to that. So if you have medical collections on your credit, it's not going to stop you from getting a loan to buy a house. So don't allow that to discourage you. If you have medical collections on your credit, it's not going to allow you. But if you have collection on your student loan, it will affect your buying power. So you have to make sure you go back and start making payment before you apply for a loan.
All right. Thank you. Thank you both for that. The next question says, can co-signing my child's student loan, and this is very mistaken, can co-signing my child's student loan affect my DTI?
Yes, it will affect your debt to income ratio because they will put into account, even though the child is still in school, the loan is in forbearance, so they will actually add that to your liability. So what they typically do is, depending on the type of loan, they can use 0.5% of the balance of the loan. Between 0.5% and 1% of the loan balance, it's what is added as your liability when you are buying. The only time student loan is not considered is if we're getting a VA loan. If we're getting a VA loan and then the loan is deferred or is in forbearance till, as long as it's in forbearance or deferred for at least 12 months from the closing date, then they will not add that to your liability. But anything other than that, then yes, it will be added to your liability.
All right. Okay. Thank you. I'm still staying with you, Ms. Nika. It says, is it compulsory to have 2 years of work history and bank statement?
So I will break it down so that people will understand better. You don't have to have 2 years on the same job, okay? As long as you have a combined 2-year work history, all right? That's what they are looking for. They want to see that at least you've been able to work for 2 years. Now, let's say you were in school or your child was in school for 2 years and they just started a new job, you can get a loan. Let's say you were living in a different country. You were living in Nigeria or the UK, wherever, and you worked there that we can verify. And now you are in the US, you can get a loan. And you've only started working maybe about a month or two, you can get a loan. All right. So they just want to see that you've had a 2-year work history. Now, let's say you were working at a company or you've had like 5-year work history and you took a break, maybe to have a baby or something, or you had medical issues and you took maybe a year break and you didn't work and now you are back to workforce. You will still get a loan. You can get a loan as long as we can verify that you were employed for at least 2 years prior to you getting that break. Okay, I hope that answers the question.
Yes, I believe so. And please, whoever sending that question, if you need more clarification, please be sure to send it in. But I want to stay on that topic. What if you don't have a 1099, you don't have a W-2? Can you still get a loan? And in what kind of scenario would that happen?
If you don't have a W-2.
You're not currently employed, you don't have a W-2, you don't have a 1099.
Okay, so if you don't have
You're not a VA.
okay, if you don't have any income, we do have a loan program that allows, as long as your credit is 680 or better. So we do have a loan program that would allow you to buy, but the down payment is 25%. 25% down, plus your closing costs, plus we need to show that you have 6 months reserves, 6 months of payments in your bank account. So let's say you are buying a home of 200,000, your down payment is going to be 25% of that. Plus, let's say your mortgage payment is $2,000 a month. Now I'm just using random numbers. 2,000 a month, then times 6. So you're 25% down, plus maybe closing costs of about 4%, then plus $12,000 as your reserves, Once you have that, then you can get a loan.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mosun. I have a question for you. So we've talked about credit repair. There's a question about credit building. How can you quickly build your credit to the point where you can get a FHA loan or conventional loan? So you're just starting out, you've not really used credit, you're just now coming to build. Either you just, migrated to this country and you're starting up, but you have your money, but you want to build your credit. How can you go about it?
Oh, you are muted.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So I think I mentioned some of those when I was talking earlier. So credit repair is okay. I messed up, something's happened, and my credit is low, and I'm trying to repair it because of negative items. But credit building is okay. I just want to start building my credit, or this is where my credit, I just wanted to improve. So there are some things you can get credit card, and these steps is not what you do when you've already started house shopping or you want to start mortgage. You need to start it and build it to a certain level that you know you can get a loan. So you can get a loan, you can get a builder credit, and those kind of credit is they don't give you the loan. They put that loan. Let's say you want to get like $500, they put it in like a savings account, and some banks they do that. So they put that loan in a savings account for you, like $500, and you start making payment of like between $20 and $50 every month towards that. So it helps you to build, and they report that to the bureaus every month. So you put that that payment every month, so they see that you are making. At the end of that, they give you that loan back with some of the fees that they already charge. So that can help you build a credit if you are new to the credit and you don't want to take the money, and you just start. And there's another one that they give you like a credit, they give it to you, but you start making that payment. You start making small purchases with that credit, and you start making the payment, and that helps you to build your credit too. So those are the things that you can do to make. And if it's not a new credit, if you are not new to the credit, you've already have it, it's something like we talked earlier. You can pay up your credit utilization and to make it below 30%, and those are the things that help you to boost your credit.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. I also have another question here, and I'll take it, and you can both feel free to jump in if you have additional message or additional details to add to that. It says, is it compulsory for both couples to be on the deed? And I'll say Texas is a what's the word now? It skips my mind.
Community property state.
It's a community property state. Thank you, Ma. So it means that if it's your homestead, if it's your first home or your second home, then the name of the couple, the husband and the wife or the partners, have to be on the deed. Now, if it's an investment property where it's not your primary home and you're not getting any of those benefits, then you can go ahead and put just the name of one of the couple on the deed. But as long as it's your home and you're married, then the both of you would have to have your name on the deed. Maybe not on the loan, but on the deed.
So what I typically tell couple is this: you can have everything together, joint, but for us as a couple, we don't share liabilities. Our liabilities are done separately. So when you are buying a home, you can actually finance 10 properties per person. So if you are somebody that is looking at purchasing real estate to build wealth for yourself, you get 10, your husband get 10, that's 20, compared to both of you on the same loan. If one person qualifies for the loan, let that person get the loan. You are going to be on the deed because it is automatic. I've seen people that would come to me and say, I just want to buy it alone. I don't want my husband to know about it. Either you like it or not, either the husband know about it or not, either your wife know about it or not, they automatically own 50% of that house. So you cannot sell the house or refinance the house without the other party. So in Texas, maybe in other states, but in Texas, it is a community property state. Your spouse must be on the deed. If you buy it while you are married and they were not on the deed, trust me, you don't want to go through that experience. Because I went through it with a buyer. It took us 6 months to find that woman, because after he purchased the home, he closed on that house by himself, and then they went through a divorce, and then the woman moved to Florida to remarry. Now he wants to cash out the property, cash out of that same property, but we couldn't because they were married when he purchased the property. We had to find that woman. It took us 6 months to find that woman. So you don't want to go through that process. If you know you are married, your spouse must be part of the transaction.
Right. In fact, just to add to that, recently I had the experience where the title officer was not even going to let you close if the wife did not sign the deed. She wasn't going to let us close on that. So either you do a POA, if she's not around, let her do a power of attorney or something, but both of them must sign as long as they're married, as long as you declare as married and you're closing on a home that is designated either as your first home or your second home. If it's not
Even
investment.
if you didn't declare, if you did not declare your application, because there are people that will tell us they are single, but they are married. Even if you did not say that you are married and you just say you are single and you bought that home, trust me, they will come after you. There's
Right.
also a question in the chat.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's the one I was going to take now. The one that says, how soon can you buy another house after foreclosure?
So it depends on the loan program. If it's a FHA loan, I think FHA is 3 years. Conventional loan is 7. You have to wait 7 years. And the VA loan, I believe, is 2 years. But if the foreclosure was due to circumstances beyond your control, and we have proof, you can buy a house sooner than those period of time. So let's say, I don't know, maybe medical issues, or let's say divorce situation that was messy, and we can see that you tried to maybe show how you try to make the payment and something's happened. There are some things that maybe circumstances that was truly beyond your control. The lender may allow, and then you have rebuilt credit after that. That's another keyword, rebuilding your credit after that. See, no matter what challenges you've been through in life, it is not the end of you. Okay? Do not allow whatever you've gone through to stop you from going further in life. If you've been through foreclosure, you've been through divorce, you've been through collection, whatever it is that you have been through, that's not the end of it. That's just the beginning of greater manifestation in your life. What you need to do is stand up, pick up the pieces, and keep moving forward. That's it.
All right. Yes, thank you. That's very encouraging. So we know that a foreclosure does not mean you cannot buy another home. Please, by all means, go ahead and start working towards it. I think I have one final question for both of you each, and then we can wrap it up. Thank you so much for hanging with me on this one. So, Mosun, let me ask, when should buyers start credit preparation? I think you've touched that one, but just in terms of timelines, what have you seen about? So if you want to buy a home in 6 months, well, if you're planning to buy a home in March, when should you start actually looking at building your credit? What's the minimum it would take?
Okay, so it depends. It depends on what is going on your credit reports. For some people, they just need to boost that thing, like as I talked earlier, credit utilization, pay up all of that utilization, reduce it, and all that. Those within a month or 45 days, they will already boost your credit score, and you can already do that. But if you have a lot of late payments, a lot of negative items going on your credit report, then you might need time to fix all of that. And again, don't dispute during that time. If you know that, okay, with what I have right now, I will get approval and you're not doing anything on it, don't start the dispute process and all that, because that could affect it. So I would say that for some, between 30 to 45 days, it's already done. They've boosted it. For some people, it takes 3 to 6 months because of what they need to fix on their credit report. So I would say it depends. Between a month and 6 months, that's when. And they need a professional to look at that. If you need help to review your credit report and just see what we can do to improve it, and I'll let you know that, okay, within 1 month or 2 months you'll be able to do this. But and I will also be able to tell you that I think you may need to be patient. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. So yeah, it depends.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. I know people go, I want to just quickly clarify something for our guests and whoever's listening to this after. I know people look at places like Credit Karma, and that's what they use. Whatever credit score they get from there is what they would use to say, oh, Credit Karma says my credit is 580, I'm good for FHA. And then, then they get themselves into that mindset of I'm ready to buy a home. Can you clarify that part where what the mortgage or lenders look at is slightly different than the publicly accessible credit?
And it's slightly different because the system that the lender they used to, and I'm sure Miss Nika will be able to talk more about this, because what they used to put their credit, it's different. So they credit karma and all of that, they just show you your credit score. But the system that we use will pull out all your credit reports, your history, and everything, and that's what shows the three what's it called, credit score on the bureau, and they will use the lowest one to approve your loan. So I'm sure maybe Ms. Nika will be able to talk more about what system is used.
Right. So what I tell people is that Credit Karma is just a guide. Credit Karma, CreditWise, your Chase credit journey, all those are just a guide to give you an idea of where you are. The lender is not going to look at your Credit Karma or your CreditWise profile to approve you for a loan. They are going to look at what we pull as mortgage professionals. So we pull all 3 credit bureaus. So whatever your credit score is, which is the mid score, that's what we are going to look at to approve you. So if your Credit Karma is showing, let's say 700, your Credit Karma is showing 700. What I typically suggest to clients is to deduct 20 points from that. That's about the range that your score is going to look at. I mean, it's going to look like when you come to us to pull your credit. When you know that you are looking to buy a house, don't focus on Credit Karma. Just get with a mortgage professional, let them pull your credit, because whatever we see is what the lender is going to look at and is what your bank is going to approve you on. So just make sure you are working with a mortgage professional to guide you so that you are doing the right thing.
All right, thank you, ma'am. And I also have a question for you. It says, if I have a full-time job, W-2, and a side gig that is 1099, can I combine both?
So it depends. Let's say you have both jobs and they're less than 2 years. You cannot combine. So if you want to combine multiple income, we have to show proof that you've worked that multiple income for 2 years. And one thing about those that have 1099 or side gigs is that they don't report their income. Most of the time, they will make 100,000 and then they will write off 95,000 as expenses. And at the end of the day, you're only showing that you made 5,000. So if that's the case, 5,000 divided by 12. So whatever that is what the lender is going to add as your income. So most times it may not work. But if you know that you are working, you have this side gig or you have this 1099 job that you're doing, and you want to use that income as part of the qualification, as part of the income for qualification, just make sure you file that income. I mean, you're going to pay IRS some money, but at least you know that you are getting the house that you want. Now, if you don't want to pay IRS, the taxes because you are going to write off a lot, then save more money towards your down payment. So if you can qualify without using that other income, fine. But if you know that you need that income, don't write off too much.
Okay.
Yeah, and sorry if I may add a little to that. And for some people also in business, that when you want to file tax, you just your financial report, they're going to use your profit and loss and all of that to determine your qualifications. And when they're filing tax, they don't want to report everything, every of their income. They have a lot of operating expenses, and their profit, their financial statement is already showing loss. So that's going to affect you whenever you want to get approval for your loan. So you want to take that, put that into consideration whenever you're filing too.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. I don't see any more questions in the chat, so I would ask my final questions and we can wrap this one up. Okay, so Mosun, one question for you and one for Ms. Nike. For you, Mosun, what is the one myth buyers should unlearn? You're muted.
Sorry, I'm always mute. So that would be that. Um, did I prepare for this? Okay, I would say that paying off collections, just pay, not paying off pay collections without strategy. They just want to pay collections like, okay, let me quickly pay this so that I can purchase my property. It doesn't work that way because sometimes immediately you make that payment, it will reduce your credit score. So that one is you need to have strategy in place before you make that payment. If it's a long time, especially if it's a collection that has been a long, they've been calling you for so long and you've not been responding, and it's just been there for over a year. And because you want to buy now, you just want to pay. It might immediately affect your credit score. So you need to have strategy in place. Speak to a professional before you make that payment.
Okay, don't rush to go and pay off that collection. Talk to a professional. Thank you. We also had one question come in, and so I'll take that before my final question for you, Ms. Nike. It says, can an existing business loan affect personal house buying?
So if the loan is reporting on your credit, it will be considered as part of your liabilities. A good example will be these SBA loans that everybody is getting, okay? Those loans will affect once. So now those loans are not reporting on your credit. However, if the lender pulls your credit and there's an inquiry from SBA, definitely they will ask you questions about that inquiry. Then when they ask you questions, or maybe there's a deposit into your account from SBA for X amount of money, they're going to ask you. Or let's say you made a payment to SBA, because we'll look at your bank history. When we ask you for bank statement, we're not asking you for bank statement just because we want to see your bottom line. We are asking you for bank statement because we want to see, okay, today you went to Chick-fil-A, tomorrow you went to Timmy Chan, and all of that. All of your expenses, they will look at it. All of your deposit, they will look at it. So if there's anything that is reported to your credit that is not even on your, that is in your bank statement, that is not on your credit, the lender will ask you questions. So if it's reporting on your credit, or if we can see traces on your bank statement or on your credit report, they will ask you questions. So once we know that you have a new loan with the SBA or whatever, then they will ask you to bring the bank the statement, and then that monthly payment will be factored into your liability. But if it's a loan that is not showing, let's say you have an office building and that loan is not showing in your personal name, then they are not going to consider that as part of your liability.
Sorry if I may add to that, because I do bookkeeping and taxes for business
Right.
owners too. So I always advise business owners to, if you're taking like the SBA loan she spoke about, They will pull your personal credit just once when you want to take the loan, and that will be all. So every other thing that you want to do, have a business account, business bank account separate from your personal account. Whatever business expenses that you're doing, let it be in your business account. Don't mix it with your personal account, and that will save you a lot. Your loan payment, your loan coming in, receiving your loan, let it be in your business account and all of your expenses, and that will save you.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much. I bet that is helpful. If you need any more clarification, please feel free to reach out. Otherwise, Miss Nike, my final question to you is this. What's the biggest mistake you see first-time buyers make?
The biggest mistake, looking at houses without getting pre-approved.
I'm with you on that one.
Oh my goodness. They
Yeah.
found house and they didn't get pre-approved and they are under contract. And now because they have, maybe they are self-employed or they make $200,000 a year, and they spoke to the builder's lender. The builder's lender pulled credit and they told them that, okay, they give them the green light, and then they go under contract. And it's 2 weeks to closing. Now the builder's lender is just starting to verify all the information, and they don't qualify. So before you, it doesn't matter. See, look, to God be the glory. I've been in this business for a while. Even if you end up not buying from me or not closing your loan with me, I still want you to buy. So if you come and you get pre-approved, if you don't buy from me today, and I'm able to guide you, what's going to happen when you find somebody else that wants to buy? You're going to refer them to me, right? So let's help you to guide you so that you don't make that mistake and wait until 2 weeks and you keep having all these sleepless nights because they are telling you that you can't get approval. Please get pre-approved by a true professional that is going to go through all your documents, all your deposit, ask you questions. I will ask you questions though. Then if you now want to go with the builder because they are giving you $20,000 incentive, it's okay. Okay? It's fine. But please, by all means, don't buy a house without getting pre-approved and then putting 20%. I had a buyer that lost $30,000 to the builder because they went to build this home, custom build, without getting pre-approval because the builder's lender told them that it's okay. They lost 30,000. They gave them some of their money, but all the money that for their customization and everything, they lost all of that. So don't go looking at houses without being pre-approved. And you don't need 20% to buy a house. You can buy with minimum down payment, and you don't need to have perfect credit.
Right. Thank you. I echo everything you just said, because if that question came to me, that's exactly what I would have said. Do not go looking for a home if you haven't found out exactly what you qualify for. Also, make sure that, you don't need to have the perfect credit score. You don't need 20%. There are different options. And on that note, I want to say a big thank you to my co-host today. Thank you so much, Ms. Nikki. I appreciate the patience and, all of that information that you shared. Valuable, very valuable. Mosun, thank you also so much for hanging with me. Thank you to all our attendees, the ones that also joined back. I appreciate you. So this is the maiden edition. It'll be better the next time. And we've learned some lessons from this one. Thank God we brought it this far and we were able to complete it. Thank you so much. I'd just like to add now that if you'd like a personalized home buyer plan, please feel free to consult, to schedule a one-on-one strategy session with me. I'll be more than happy. And like Ms. Nika said, you don't have to close with me, but let's talk about it. Let's make sure we set you on the right path so you don't make any avoidable mistakes. And also, like she says, she's also available for private pre-approval consultation. So reach out to her. I'm hoping that the contact details are in the lower third there, and you can reach out to. If not, I will be sure to send their details. At least you can DM them on Instagram to reach out. And Mosu can also support with credit readiness. I remember she's also a licensed mortgage loan officer and she'll be happy to help you. Everything finance, even with your business, if you need to structure it in a way that it helps to position you well so you can qualify for loans and your credit repair. Awesome. Thank you all so very much for joining us on Dovana Talks today. Do have a wonderful day. We appreciate the time you spent with us, and we look forward to helping you on your own buying journey. Have a good afternoon. Bye for now. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.